Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Yeah, now, we took a little time off. This boxing get on your it gets on your nerves. And yeah, but we had Lester Martinez winning his fight and Carlos Adamas winning his fight. So that's pretty good for that 168-pound division. Things about to go down. Lester Martinez had that good fight, so he's in the interim won the WBC interim title. Gives him a title shot coming up soon. We know Lester Martinez is pretty good, so it's good to see that. Carlos Adames handling his business as well. Two good fighters in that division handling their business. So things um, it's popping off. Adames, I think, is a 160-pounder though. But uh, when you're looking at Canelo Alvarez is rumored to be fighting in Billy, right? And so Lester Martinez is putting himself in a good position to probably get a Canelo fight if Canelo gets past in Billy. Let's see if Canelo fights in Billy in September. I don't know, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video. What I want to talk about is, even after taking a few days off, you're still hearing Ryan Garcia's name, right? Still hearing Ryan Garcia's name. What did I tell you about guys like that? Listen, guys, he gets enough attention on social media and everything. If you want this guy to really get in there and just fight, right? You got to ignore him. Now, listen, when it comes to Ryan Garcia, all you got to do is think like this. If the guy enrolls in drug testing, then take him serious. Anything, if he's not in drug testing, then forget it. Forget about it. You know what I mean? Because it's probably not going to be fair. Yeah, he beat Barrios, right? And now he's got a title. But, he was talking to Shakur Stevenson about going down and fighting him at a catchweight. Now he don't want to. Shakur comes up to 147 and fight him without even a rehydration clause. Shakur's down in a different weight classes, man. If you talking that smack, then either go down there and fight him or not. But you got to ignore people like that, right? Let's see what Ryan Garcia is going to do. Now, I done told you in the last video I did a few days back, if it's up to me, Ryan Garcia versus Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. lost. Ryan Garcia came back after losing to Rolly, right? And now he's just in limbo. Ryan Garcia versus Brian Norman would be the fight, right? Because that fight right there gives Brian Norman a chance to get right back in the mix. It gives Ryan a chance to beat somebody, a hard-punching guy, right? And beat somebody that beat him better than Devin Haney did. And Devin Haney is fighting the guy who beat Rolly Romero. It's 4 top guys in that division, right? And then you got a little round robin. So listen, guys, if we want Ryan to fight, right, him and Brian Norman getting 24/7 drug testing, they fight soon. And then so is your boy Devin Haney. He's going to fight, Devin Haney going to fight Rolly Romero in May. And then in September, you got the winners of those 2 fights, popping off in a huge fight. Because, we keep saying Devin Haney versus Rolly versus Ryan Garcia is such a huge fight. Not really. Without drug testing, I don't consider that to be a big fight. You know what I mean? I don't. Because I saw a guy come in at 3.5 pounds heavier, didn't have to lose that weight, didn't have to drain himself, and was on drugs. Drug to the gills, right? So, and that guy barely gets by and barely wins. So I'm not really thinking Ryan's not in the same league as Devin Haney as far as I'm concerned. So, prove it. Like I told you before, you have to prove that you can fight your majesty. Not just because you're Mexican and people going to be behind you and you got people behind you. I don't care about that. Anybody that's not paying attention to that realizes you was his mandatory. You didn't want to fight him, right? As a mandatory. Wanted to fight everybody else. So you had an opportunity then. You didn't want to fight him. Then when you finally do fight him, you're drugged and you miss weight by that much. Not like, a half a pound or a pound or maybe even 2 pounds. No. Out of, just straight up, I'm just going to come in here, cheat, and have all the advantages in the world, drugged up, right? And I barely win by a point or so, with knockdowns. That means you were losing the fight. And if you're losing the fight with all those advantages, why would I think that he's going to beat Devin Haney without drugs? You didn't beat Rolly Ramiro without drugs. Totally lethargic and scary. So therefore, let's prove something. And I think anybody's, sane should be wanting Ryan Garcia to prove something to fight Devin Haney. So what you got to prove is that you're not on drugs. And then go on and beat up Brian Norman Jr. Then we got a big fight. Then we can start talking about a big fight. But just Ryan Garcia coming in there and why is Devin Haney even asking him to take a drug test? That's an idiotic thing. Typical new Russian mentality. Hey, this brother, I done told you, BTBG. Why is he asking him to take a drug test? Why did Floyd Mayweather ask Pacquiao to take a drug test? Because you're sitting there wanting a brother to get beat. Right? We ain't got time for that. Either you want a fair fight or you don't. If you don't want a fair fight, then just say it. The brother's better. Can he cheat and fight? And then we'll watch. But if you're not going to say that, then we want a fair fight. Right? That's it. So, Devin Haney going to fight Rolly. Ryan Garcia, you fight Brian Norman Jr., and then make sure you're on drug testing. And then we got Devin versus Ryan in September, if he gets past Brian Norman. Doma Sports Talk worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.